Alright guys, welcome to another episode of an exclusive on IKTV. I'm of course your host Joe Nizilon Richardson. Now this should have been segment 2 of the last episode that you saw of Advocates SVG. But I guess we were kind of having a bit too much fun on set, but woo, Vinci to the bone. I mean, it's independence thing, right? So I'm just gonna get, let me just lay out the information again for you. So before we had on set on the last episode, Sigilla McDowell and Mandela Campbell. Now they are also both lawyers and they are Christians, and that's practically what that group was all about, Advocates SVG. And they are having a conference on the 7th through the 9th of November. Registration closes on the 31st of October. That's a few days from now. Sad. There's going to be a gala for the opening. It's 40 EC?
No,
one.
That's
$120.
So, oh Lord, 120 EC, right? So the gala is on the 7th at Beachcombers Hotel.
That's correct.
On the 8th, the full conference would be taking place, and then on the 9th in the morning there would be a praise and worship kind of session.
Right.
Hallelujah.
The conference continues on the 9th in the morning.
Right. Okay. So now that we've gotten that out, so. Everybody can remember. I hope you guys remember. We have flashes. I don't know if you all saw it. I hope you didn't tune in today because we had a bit of flashing thingy going on between this and what was happening in the last episode. We're having laughing on set and everything. Right. So I'm going to try that over here, right? We're going to try that laughing thing over here too.
You're going to try the laughing thing?
We're going to try the laughing thing.
Like Woody Woodpecker?
Guys, you see what I'm talking? Do you see what I'm talking about? Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna introduce them, right? So I'm gonna start with the funny guy over here, the lawyer, the hardcore lawyer. Who, by the way, he says he's James Bond. I have another James Bond on set. Again.
I'm the original James Bond.
And they all claim to be the original. You guys noticing a trend here? I'm guessing it's a Vinci kind of thing going on lately. James Bond is like a blowing up guy.
No,
so
James Bond is me. He's not anyone else.
Right, sure. And that's coming from a lawyer. See, Jenna, I wish I could have gotten you back in here because I remember you say. Anyway, we ain't going down that road. Okay, so Kezron Walters, and he is attorney at law and Crown Counsel at the Attorney General's office.
That's correct.
Correct. And the one who's closer to me, the young lady in the middle, the Jamaican, if I should say, on set.
Yes,
I just want to tell it out.
Jamaican Vincentian.
Jamaican Vincentian is Vinci. We're still Vinci. We're still Vinci. Woo! Vinci to the bone. Still, you're still Vinci to the bone.
I'm still Vinci to the bone. I can be split into. That's fine.
To the bone, swap into the marrow.
And the marrow, help me out. And the
the bone is the marrow.
And the cells and the.
Once
I didn't do bio.
Jenna, can you tell them what you told me in the last episode, please?
I said it loud up bio.
Oh Lord have mercy. She is Misha Cruikshank, and she is soon to be called to the bar.
Yes.
I'm gonna do this same thing. I'm gonna have you guys tell us a bit about yourselves. I'm gonna start with the Jamaican, do some Jamaican accent in between.
You sure?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm a Jamaican, yes. My name is Misha Cruikshank, formerly Forrest. Came here in St. Vincent last year, spent all of the summer holidays here, did my internship. Fell in love with St. Vincent, which is why I'm back. And of course, I fell in love with my husband as well.
Aww.
Which is why I'm not going to leave.
So sweet.
We'll be in Paris.
I'm a Seventh-day Adventist, and I think I'm the newest member of Advocates SVG.
That's correct.
I'm really passionate about advocating for not just the rights of other individuals, but also, encouraging others to stand up, to speak out, because at the end of the day, nobody's going to speak out for you. And I expect that I'm going to have a lot of fun here in St. Vincent.
You will.
Yes.
You already is. This is land of the blessed, and look, by fact, you already did what Paris did not do. You know, they all say Paris and France and Paris, the love city and thing. You come here, you find love, you fell in love with the country.
Actually, I fell in love in Jamaica.
Uh-huh.
You see, that is what
and
happens.
And then she fell in love with St. Vincent after.
Yeah, that kind of happens to some of us.
Oh.
Yeah.
St. Vincent has that effect on everyone. in
Yeah.
some ways, you know. I mean, it's like
Some
I
of
said.
us fall in love with Jamaica as well.
Yes, I'll drink this
Yeah.
tea right here.
Drink.
Right. And Mr. James Bond, tell us a bit about yourself.
That's me. Okay, I'm Kezron Walters.
I need to stop calling. Wait, I need to stop calling you James Bond because eventually
Please
I'm gonna call you
do.
James
Don't go
Bond.
into court and say James Bond.
If you don't want to call me James Bond, just call me boss.
Oh Lord.
Oh
Okay.
Lord, oh Lord. Yes, Mr. Walters.
Yes,
Tell us
I'm
a bit about
Kezron
yourself.
Walters. I was in private practice for a while before I started working with the Attorney General. I worked with Graham Ballers at Regal Chambers in Middle Street in Kingston. I'm a Christian as well, Christian lawyer. Advocates SVG. I worship with the brethren at the Grace and Truth Hall in Chapman's. That's out in the countryside where I live.
Right.
And I'm Vincentian, 100% Vincentian, and I love St. Vincent. And a happy independence to St. Vincent and
Soon
the
to be
Grenadines and everyone.
Jamaican as well.
Really?
You know, we have that connection. Yeah, we go way back.
I'm drinking of this tea here.
You're turning what was the green? What's the frog guy again in the muffin? What's his name again?
Kermit.
Kermit. You're turning Kermit. You're just gonna
No,
have some of this tea.
I
No, I
just
just
have so
like
much
tea,
It's
you know.
none of my business. Alright, okay, so we are here now to talk about the title of the conference, right? And it's Free Indeed, Fundamental Freedom.
Rights and Freedom.
Fundamental Rights and Freedom. Free Indeed. I guess we kind of need a Bob Marley music underneath right now. So.
Yeah, man. Buffalo soldier in the heart of
Okay. So, what is your fundamental right in coming on my show and singing?
Well, we have the right to freedom of expression.
Yes,
So I
okay.
can express myself in any way that I want, especially on your show. If I want to sing some opera, I can do that.
You're joking me. Okay. And what is your right to call yourself James Bond?
Well, I have the right to self-definition. I can define myself. I am me. God.
You know what? I guess you can't put the media against lawyers unless we try to expose them because
No.
you guys have you're like you have a plaster for every song.
I'll tell you.
Okay, so you know what? Serious up. Okay, so we've been delving into some fun for the last 2 episodes, right? Okay, so on the 7th, 8th, and 9th, fundamental rights of freedom. Tell us a bit about that because this thing would pop into person's mind when they hear freedoms and rights, and they're like, I have this right to whatever. I have, and there's even oh Lord, this is lawyers on set. Lord, please help me. There's a political party who constantly goes on the freedom of rights of persons. So can you help us by giving us a little bit about what exactly is the fundamental rights?
Well, the fundamental rights and freedoms are, if I should say that, are enshrined in the Constitution, in a part of the Constitution called the Bill of Rights primarily. There are several rights, amongst which are the right to freedom from slavery and labor, freedom from inhuman and degrading treatment, freedom of expression, freedom to own property, etc., not to be deprived from it, freedom of assembly, freedom of movement, etc. There are lots of different rights and freedoms. In some other countries, such as Guyana, you would have the right to education. We don't really have that right here, although the Education Act does guarantee you some rights. But not all of the rights and freedoms would be enshrined in the Constitution. There would be other rights which you'd be entitled to via other means.
Okay, so while you're talking, excuse me, while you're talking, right, this one popped up in my head, and that's the right to privacy.
To privacy.
Yeah, and I'm asked this right here on set, right? A bank, let's say a bank wants my address. And so I'm opening a savings account, but they want my address. They want my utility bill. Can I say I'm not giving you that because that's my private information?
It's your right to withhold it if you want.
Okay,
But then they have the right to refuse to open the account.
Okay, I'm just checking. Well, that's not my personal thing, by the way. I just heard it on the street. I mean, I hear a lot of things. I hear a lot of things. A lot. Some things that just don't seem to make sense. But I hear a lot. See the face? It just don't make sense.
But I figure that the three rights which would come up primarily in the conference would be the right to freedom of conscience, which would deal with your right to freedom of religion, to practice your religion, to be a part of a religious group, your right to freedom of association, that is, because you would hear lots of religious little groupings here and there. For example, for the life of me, I do not know how people could be or could want to be a part of a group such as a Jim Jones group, you know. But it is your right. It is your right. No.
Oh,
Jim Jones was
okay.
He was a cult leader who took
yes.
Persons to South America and then everybody killed everybody. Yeah, you know that was really interesting. But it's your right.
Have the right.
It's your constitutional right, and the Constitution is the highest law of the land, and you are protected. You could do whatever you want to do once you don't hurt nobody else. You know, so rights have limits.
Right.
Even though the Constitution is the highest law of the land.
Okay, so there's a controversial. I'm strained. I have this. I'm sure by now you realize we have this tendency on set to stray a little bit before we come back, right? So here's my thing. This one seems to be starting to get a bit controversial here in St. Vincent. The right to freedom of expression seems to be going around loosely. Oh, I say something and I have the right to say it. Can you narrow that down a bit for me?
All right.
Yeah, I was just going to pick on you. You read it.
What we were saying earlier, what Kejon said earlier, you are free to do whatever you want to do, so long as it is within the confines of the law. You can speak on any issue that you want to speak on. But there are other
Limits.
laws which limit what you can say, how you say it. Such as the defamation laws. I don't know. There are defamation laws here and libel laws.
Right. There's criminal defamation and so on.
Right.
Criminal slander, I think.
Slander as well. Right. So you are limited as to what you can say. Naturally, we would appreciate that these laws are not in place to limit your freedom, but for you to appreciate that there are other persons that you need to extend some level of respect and courtesy towards. And so it is only fair that with your right to say anything, which is defined under the Constitution, you also have a responsibility to another person, as Kezran said. So you have to be careful about what you say, how you say things, because there are other persons who can be affected.
That is an example of a right which doesn't come under the Constitution, because the right to your good name, which is practically a common law right, because somebody could go and say anything about you. If this right doesn't exist, say anything about you, defame you, malign your character, you know, and when they're finished with you, no water can wash you off, as we say in St. Vincent.
Right, your name is Stinker Road.
Exactly.
Jamaican said that as well.
So yeah, nice.
So that is a natural limit. You can say whatever you want to say, express yourself however you want to express yourself, once you do not defame or slander another person. And persons, and this has been a live issue in St. Vincent, because you know, some persons, especially, I think the Prime Minister, he got judgment in several cases against persons who would have been deemed to defame him.
Right. Okay. So, Misha, I'm gonna do this, and I really hope you don't beat me up on set or after set.
I can't beat you up on set. There are
you never know
lawyers here.
Well,
I mean,
he's a
when I'm not
counsel.
supposed to
Okay,
hit women, you're not supposed to beat women.
Right, I would not say so bad.
That is
but
domestic
if she
violence.
but I'm not,
And
no,
I'm
no,
totally
And she's
called-
entitled to the sanctity of propriety.
But wait, I'm not gonna get back and notice I said she beat me
And
up.
she's married.
And no, hold on.
Okay.
Yes.
Hold on.
Thank
Notice
you.
I said she beat me up.
Oh,
And
okay.
I beat her up.
Okay.
And she beat me up on camera. That's good for me.
No, no.
'Cause- yeah, that's gonna be good for me.
I will
'cause
not be able
I'll
to be
sue.
called here
Okay.
because somebody is going to charge me.
Anyway, notice I never said
Yeah,
it's
you're
good for you.
getting
Now. Notice
personal.
I didn't say it's good for you either. I said it's good for me because I could make a good pocket change off for you. So you can beat me up on camera.
I see where you're going.
I mean,
with
I'm
this.
not giving you permission because I'm guessing if I give you permission, that can take away from. I'm not giving you permission to, but I'm just saying.
Do you need a lawyer?
Right. Okay, so I'm picking on you because I noticed that you have a little fire. Should I say a quiet fire? A quiet.
I don't think this fire is so quiet. You don't want to stoke this fire. Or you would probably get
Quiet fire.
another trade union leader.
I don't want an explosion because I'll just say it's James Bond because it's an explosion. But you have a little thing with politics, right? So yeah, I'm sorry, I have to do it, or else I would not be a good media thingy, right? So, but I'm gonna take it light. So, and I'm gonna make sure I keep it in line. See?
Please
You
do.
see? Right.
Yes.
So, for the freedom and fundamental rights and stuff, in Parliament there's a gag order or something like that where what's said inside. So, I'm guessing this is something that's going to be needing reviews, right? But no media is allowed inside of court, right? And persons on this side, and there's two political sides here, and inside there is not slander or anything, and there's nothing you can do court-wise. But the media is inside it, and whatever you say inside there comes out, and it still affects the person, right? What is your opinion on all of it? I mean, I go in Parliament and say, you are blah, 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 you're no good, and you know, and I say, are you a thief? You know? And the media is bringing it on all on the outside.
All right, Mr. Media, you have to be very careful
I'll drink
about
some of this tea,
what you publish because. All
Parliament
right,
is what,
let's.
live?
Yes. But it is also the responsibility of the media to be responsible.
We don't
in
have a
their-
media code in St. Vincent.
You don't.
I don't.
Well,
This
you
is
need
my
to-
personal opinion.
well,
This is
it
my
seems
personal
like we need
opinion.
to advocate
This is my
for
personal
that.
opinion. You know, there was a thesis. It was done in Jamaica. I think it was by a Vincent. Yes, it was by a Vincent, and it's called Media in St. Vincent, the unplanned pregnancy. So yeah, I'm just following up on this.
All right. Well, from what I've seen, there are a lot of things that need to be coded in St. Vincent. And going up what you said earlier, the manner in which the media operates needs to be one of those. You have to operate within the confines of the law.
Right.
If we do not, then we're going to have a lawless society, and we don't want a lawless society.
Right.
The media has a responsibility. They have to be, give me a word,
Responsible.
synonymous to responsible.
You know, I was thinking responsible, and we had the same thought. We had
Yes.
the same thought. You could drink something. I think.
Well, you must be responsible in what you put out to the public, right? And in the same way that an individual who says something that is untrue and proven to be untrue about another, and that person can be liable for slander or libel, whatever, or defamation or whatever. The media can also be responsible, and can also.
Attract liability.
Yes, because you are publishing what somebody else said that is not true, right? And even though it is in Parliament, you still have to be careful about what you say. Now, when you mention gag order, I'm not very sure what you're talking
I'm
about.
not sure if that's probably the right term because my head is all
But I think
mixed
it's
up.
constitutional. It's a
Yes.
constitutional provision which protects the parliamentarians and protects what
Yes,
they say in
that's-
Parliament.
yeah, that's what
But you have to note that in the Toussaint case, which was a very recent case, that it went all the way to the Privy Council. The Privy Council is allowing what the Prime Minister said in Parliament to be admitted into evidence in that Toussaint case. and it's a very important precedent. So parliamentarians now would have to watch what they say in Parliament.
I mean, generally, parliamentarians have something we call parliamentary sovereignty. And
privilege.
Privilege. Right. So what they say in the House should not be used against them. Right. You still are not allowed to just write whatever you want to write in your news article. No, you're not allowed to do that. And remember, we have to allow people to operate in a space, and especially parliamentarians, they have to be able to operate in a space where they are free to represent the people. They are doing an extremely important job, and if you have sanctions hanging over their heads, that limits their representation. It limits what they can say. It limits what they can do. We were talking earlier, Kezran, about something similar to that. You cannot have things hanging over people's head. That will I want a different word from limit. Help me. It will constrain the way they function, right? And notwithstanding that you need codes of ethics, it also means that your codes of ethics cannot be so stringent, right? Which would limit their ability to do their roles and responsibilities.
Okay, so that's their fundamental freedom released. All right.
I guess this discussion is particularly important, especially in light of the upcoming conference.
Right.
And we have the discussions on freedom of expression and freedom of religion. So it will be really good to have members of the press there and taking part in the discussion. Probably church leaders, youth leaders, etc. You're invited and encouraged to come out and take part in the discussion.
Okay, and guys, remember it's the 7th,
9th
and the 9th of November, and everything is happening at the Beachcombers.
At the Beachcombers Hotel.
Okay, so if you got a little bit sucked in there into that little conversation about the fundamental rights of parliamentarians, I'm guessing there's going to be that and much more.
Yes, because we expect parliamentarians will be there.
Yeah, parliamentarians will be there.
Other members of government will be there.
Etc.
The discussion will be wide and diverse, and you need to be a part. It will not be televised, so you need to be there. Right.
So I can't walk with my camera.
You can.
I can put a camera in my button.
Yeah.
I could put a camera in my button and be like.
Well, you'll be able to ask questions, and all of those questions that you've been asking me, you'll be able to ask a panel that is even much more competent and experienced than I am. So you should be there.
Okay, and what about for the public, the person who wants to know, what is my right? Because there's somebody bugging me and I want to know my rights so I don't pass my limit, and I don't want to end up and having to call one of these lawyers. I don't want to call one of these lawyers right now. I want to know first, right? And then I go call the lawyer, so I know the lawyer. For
that person, I could probably refer them to. I hope this isn't a conflict of interest, but there's a show hosted by Pierre Campbell, I think on SVG TV, called The Law and You. He did not just say that. He did not just say that. Right. Yes, so I may be able to refer them to that show, and I think he expounds on the law really well.
Would he be at the conference?
I think he will be there. I think he
will be there.
He will be there. If I recall correctly.
Imagine we're in studio and Mandela is shouting into the studio. Okay. So
Mandela, we hear you.
But can I just add in something there? One of the things that you have to appreciate about St. Vincent is they have an Access to Information Act, right? Which entitles you, Mr. Media, to access information that is in the public domain, right? But these are things that people need to know about. You have right to information, and the government secures that right. The Constitution secures that. Well, the Constitution secures that right, so the government should not try to abrogate that right, right? So these things are out there and people need to know. There's information. You can access the information. You can read. Know what your rights are so that nobody is able to subject you to anything that is unconstitutional, illegal, or whatever. You have to know what your rights are. And to kickstart that, why not come to the conference?
True.
Right?
I
Come
was
to the
just
conference.
going to say that we need to be at the conference so that we can know our rights.
You have to be. You have to be. And you see, one of the problems is it is usually when people are in trouble. We always hear this. It is when people are in trouble they run to lawyers.
That's
right?
the only time.
That's the only time we are needed. but the information is there, and you need to read and know what you're entitled to, because sometimes you're in a spot and you cannot call your lawyer. It's not like on TV where somebody says, okay, call my lawyer. You probably don't have any credit.
Hey, what's
You don't have any credit. Or you're somewhere, but you need to know what you're entitled to. And I'm really appreciative of this conference because it is starting something good in St. Vincent. And this is something I think should be continued. And not just by Advocates Caribbean or Advocates SVG, but there are many private sector organizations that are silent. Trade unions in St. Vincent that are silent.
Calling it all out.
Yes, and you need to come to the conference because it seems as if you need some quiet fire under, you know?
The fire.
Yeah, but you need to come out and you have to get involved and you have to understand what the situation is, you know? So I'm sorry, I'm talking too much. Your time.
Okay, you know, we're coming down to the wrapping up. Okay, and Mr. Walters, I almost said James Bond again. You know, you really should not have told me that you're James Bond. We're coming down to the wrapping up, right? But for the conference, right? There's just this one last thing. Remind us of the monies that we need to pay.
Okay, the gala night, which is the first night, is $120 there. There's a very nice menu put together.
Pretty cool. So, and I'm sure my audience knows I love my belly. Yes.
Yes, it's a really nice menu. So you can get your tickets from any one of us, any one of our members. For the record, it's not only me and Misha and Mandela and Sigella. There's Andrew Russell, there's Mrs. Annika Russell, and there's a young man by the name of Jelani Williams. So, and all of us have tickets at the Attorney General's Chambers, at PR Campbell and Company, at Max and Company, or at Dwayne Daniels Chambers. You can find any one of us. You can get your ticket for the dinner, and you can also get your information. We have a Facebook group as well, Advocates SVG, and there are Facebook groups for Advocates Caribbean and Advocates International, and information on them about the conference as well. The sign-up form is there as well. But if you contact any of us, we'll be able to give you much more information. On the Saturday, it is $200. This is an all-day affair.
Right.
And there are breaks in between, coffee breaks, where snacks will be provided. Very nice finger food.
So you're being
and
fed.
you have your tea.
And you have your tea and your coffee. I'll have a little bit, you know.
James Bond.
I remember James Bond first.
And there's also lunch. And nice menus also provided. And
so that's a great deal then.
Yep, it's a great deal. And you get to hear speakers from all over the world and facilitators from all over the world. Guyana, Trinidad, Canada, England, Jamaica, St. Vincent. And then after that there is the cocktail reception, which is only $40. Food provided again, and entertainment. And there's a surprise package in it. I'm not authorized to say anymore.
I'll get that off camera.
And then there's the Sunday. There will be reports from countries about fundamental rights and freedoms and the states of human rights in their different countries, in their respective countries. And the discussion will continue on fundamental rights and freedoms, free indeed as well. We're looking forward to everyone coming out. On the Sunday, I think it's only $105. There's coffee breaks and so on as well. I don't think lunch is provided but I'm subject to correction. Maybe it is. I'm not sure.
We'll just direct them to your website and stuff.
Facebook page.
What's that again?
There's a Facebook page. You can just search for Advocates SVG or Advocates Caribbean or Advocates International. There's a website as well, advocatesinternational.org, I think it is. You can call Mandela Campbell at Pierre Campbell Chambers as well. Or you can call the Attorney General's chambers and ask for myself or Mr. Jelani Williams or any of the other chambers which were mentioned earlier.
Right. Okay, so at the present moments of this show, I must ask you the question that goes to every person, and I hope that you guys have been watching the show and you know that this is coming, right? At the end of the day, after the conference, after this interview, after all your court sessions, how do you want to be remembered? I'm going to take this on an individual level before we go to advocates, because I want to hear this one. I want to see who has a quiet fire and the smile motivation. Right? Yes, so I'm going to start with you, Misha.
Okay.
Do I got her on the spot?
I want to be remembered.
This is big.
It's extra. Wait for it. On a serious note though, I want to be remembered as someone who contributed to the personal, spiritual development of others. I think that is extremely important, and at the end of the day, if nothing else you would have achieved, be sure to achieve salvation. That is what I want to contribute.
So you want to be remembered as the evangelist?
I want the evangelist.
See, I'm on a roll here. I keep breaking this down. Yes.
Yeah, I want to be remembered as somebody who is always encouraging people to do right and to live right, because at the end of the day, that's the only thing that matters.
Okay. And I wish you all the best as you're about to be called to the bar.
Thank you very much. I'm very excited.
Yes, and Kezron James Bond Walters.
That's me.
Yes. How do you want to be remembered?
Well, I want to be remembered
for your cup of tea.
I just want to be remembered as me, you know.
Kezron Walters or James Bond?
Yeah, which one?
Just as me. I've always tried to define my personality, but it's hard to put a handle on it. You know, I just want to be remembered as me. The person who walks into a room and lights it up. The person who puts a smile on everyone's face. The person who is inspirational. He is, I want to say, extremely intelligent.
That's what me is. You see how big me is?
Exactly. You know, the person who is dependable. You know, persons could depend on him. You know, I just want to be remembered as me.
Okay, you sound like a summation of all four y'all who came in the
Really?
studio. I mean, you're the quiet flame, smile motivator, the counseling evangelistic lawyer, and me.
when you say Kezron Walters 50, 60, 100 years from now, you just see my face and know me. And
I was like, me, James Bond.
there is in the future, but there never will be me. Just
that's
me.
deep, man.
That's very deep.
That's deep.
Deep.
That's really deep.
Somebody needs to steal that. Somebody needs to take that and tweet that. I should tweet that. I will tweet that as soon as we finish that. I'm gonna tweet that. Yes. Okay. So, and Advocates SVG, one by one. How do you want it to be remembered?
I want it to be remembered as a group of change, a bastion for change. You know, we would take these issues, we would illuminate them, we would flesh them out, we would effect meaningful change, especially within the legal profession. Persons have this view that lawyers shouldn't be Christians, and yes, they may be right in some instances, because some lawyers have really thrown a bad light on Christianity and on the legal profession. But I'm seeing that this group will be the group to effect meaningful change within the legal profession and within the perception of lawyers as a whole.
Okay, and Misha?
Yeah, well, Advocates SVG, I'm very excited about this. This group, I'm really, really excited about it because I believe that this group has the potential to effect a lot of change in the legal profession in St. Vincent. There are many, many things that need to be worked on, and I think the youthfulness of this group and their desire to want to see good. And we're surrounded by people who want to see good, which is very important.
Right.
You don't want the bad seed to come in and corrupt, right? So I want Advocates SVG to be remembered as the group of young lawyers who did something to change the legal profession in St. Vincent, and by extension to change how the legal landscape in St. Vincent is. Yeah, that's what I want.
All the while effecting meaningful nation building change.
Yes.
And development.
You see why we make a great team?
I noticed. Okay, and the very last thing before I sign off, a Vincentian Independence greeting from you. Yes, sir.
Well, a happy independence to the nation of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. We have come a very long way. You are still my heart's desire, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And I know that during this Independence weekend we're going to eat, we're going to drink, and we're going to be merry, but please be safe, and let us not forget where we were and where we are now, and let us try to do our part in building this beautiful land of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A happy independence to you all.
Okay.
Wow, that's TV worthy, like mainstream TV worthy. Man, you're good.
Yeah, we're going to chop him out and done the special thing.
It was?
Okay.
I'm the boss, James Bond.
Right. And Misha, I want you to do a
boy.
Jamaican Vincentian Independence
Oh
greeting.
boy.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. St. Vincent and the Grenadines, I want to wish you a happy independence. No way, no better than St. Vincent right now. No way.
Tell them, Zine, sort it out.
Zine?
I think we need to chop that and post. I read this one. No better than
No
St.
way,
Vincent.
no better than St. Vincent. Yeah. Enjoy though and be safe, people.
All right, so guys, this conference is on the 6th, 7th, and the 7th, 8th, and 9th. I keep giving you guys extra
7th,
dates.
Thank you,
Yes.
of November.
Of November, and registration closes on the 31st of October. Yeah, you can get your tickets at any one of the legal offices that were mentioned. I am not going down the road of calling them out right now. We are pressed for time. Alright, so you're watching IKTV. I'm your host, Joanne Zilon Richardson, and you've just seen another episode of An Exclusive. Stay tuned. I'll see you guys.
That it makes me feel, and if I am a reflection of him, then I must be fly, because his light, it shines so bright. I wanna lie.